Hey, it's your boy Serge. So let's talk about HP Envy. This laptop scored average in all marks, in all categories. It scored average. It didn't particularly do well in any particular category. I didn't see anything that really kind of stood out as a positive that really made this laptop unique. Now, having said that, it does everything just fine. However, I did find some fatal flaws that I really wanted to talk to you guys about because I felt that it was very important. Alright, so here we have the HP box, some HP logos, got the Bang & Olufsen logo, and overall kind of a mediocre looking box. Let's pop this baby open, and there it is. Let's take a look inside here, take a look at the charger. We got a pretty average looking charger. I mean, this thing's kind of butt ugly, but you know what? It works, it gets the job done. Don't have too many complaints. It's a kind of a standard 45 watt charger. Here you can see the block. Overall, I mean, it's an okay looking charger. It's kind of ugly, but let's get this thing plugged in. Once we're examining the laptop, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't see any particular flaws except for when you're opening the laptop, there are these extra little rubberized feet that come out. And I mean, they're thin. I feel like they're gonna fall off. They actually prop the laptop up. So when you're looking at it, it gives it some room so the laptop can breathe, but it just seems like a really odd design. As you can see here, the screen is gonna be rubbing up against the table, and over time the paint's gonna fall off, and it's just a really bad design when you look at it. After examining the laptop some more, I could see that the metal stitching between the back plate and the metal frame is just not very flush. You can see that it's flush in the corner but not on the sides. I wonder why they did that. Let's take a look at the SSD here and see the speeds. So the read is good, but the write is considered kind of slow for an Ultrabook. The other thing that I want to talk about is the battery. The battery gets you about 5 to 6 hours when you're just doing basic tasks. Overall, look is clean, and they have that line accents, which I think is kind of neat. A lot of laptops, HP laptops have that, so it's nice. I really wish you could open up the laptop with one hand. I hate how they didn't implement this technology into the laptops. It's like they could have added it. They know how to do it. They just chose not to do it. It would have been a simple procedure. So when examining the trackpad, on average, it's a little bit bigger than most trackpads. It's fairly clicky and it works, but I did have some gripes about it. The keyboard's pretty nice and feels like a standard keyboard, doesn't have any issues. We have a fingerprint scanner. We also have some front-facing speakers, which I think is quite nice. Most of them are now either on the side or muffled on the back. The overall industrial design of the speaker is great, but when you're at medium volume, the sound can sometimes sound a little tinny and kind of cracks a little bit. My biggest disappointment was that they just didn't make the trackpad any bigger. Like, you have the Spectre X360, which is about the same size. All they really gotta do is just make it a little bit taller at the top and taller at the bottom. I mean, just shift the keyboard forward and just make it happen. I mean, this wouldn't have cost HP any more, and they didn't decide to do it. That kind of disappoints me. The software behind the trackpad is good. The scrolling is fluid. The mouse movement is precise. But I just really wish that they just put some more time into making it bigger. Overall, I had no complaints about this keyboard. Key travel is decent, and the keys are very well backlit. Some laptops don't actually have very good backlit keyboards. They're just not even backlit at all sometimes. When typing, I didn't register any misclicks, and it's something I would definitely use. On the side, we have a security lock, an SD card slot, USB 3.0, and an auxiliary port. On the reverse side, we have the power plug, the HDMI, 2 USBs, and a power LED notifier. Let's take a look at the rear. Again, the screws are pretty easy to take off. The only other design flaw that I noticed was that I didn't see the consistency with the rubber feet. Why do they have 2 small, super ultra thin rubber feet at the top when they could just do 2 or 3 pure long strips? This laptop had average weight, nothing too serious, about 2.7 pounds. A few reasons why you should subscribe. I tell you the actual flaws as opposed to just masquerading them. There are quite a few YouTubers out there that just don't really talk about the actual problems. Of course, it's very easy to overlook some things sometimes. So I know a couple of you actually asked me to do this particular review, and I figured that I would share my insight with you guys and just want to know what you guys thought of this particular review. Was it too critical? Did you like it? Should I point out more positives as opposed to negatives? All in all, it's a fairly average laptop. It just doesn't wow me in any particular category. Back when it was released in March, apparently it was actually considered one of the thinnest laptops that HP had released, but now it's the Spectre 13 out, you have the Spectre X360. There's really not too many reasons why you would pick this one. Really just the only reason I can think of is cost. So if you don't have a lot of money, you want to pick this one up, or if you find a good deal elsewhere, I'd say definitely pull the trigger. But just because this laptop isn't special in anything at all it does, I would say don't get it. And the fatal flaws I mentioned earlier, like the trackpad being just very, very mediocre, the keyboard is kind of okay, the metal design feels a little bit weird, like there's kind of like an extra textured grip to the metal, it doesn't feel smooth. I kind of don't like that. The rubber feet that come out when you fold the hinge back and prop the laptop up, I can't see those lasting a very long time. So I figured, they're probably just not going to last. I mean, just about the only thing I could think of is that it's got a decent amount of ports with that SD card slot, which is fairly useful. You're seeing a lot of Ultrabooks starting to just not even have an SD card slot, or they just take it out. So if you can imagine just a Spectre 13, if you made it a little bit thicker, to have a fully fledged USB 3.0 port, that's kind of how I feel about the HP Envy, is that it's just kind of a bigger version of Spectre without the premium look and feel of the laptop. I want to ask you guys, what is the particular reason that you would pick the HP Envy as opposed to other laptops that the HP has, or even as opposed to something like Dell, or maybe even a MacBook, for instance? I've used pretty much all the laptops out there, and I can tell you that in this particular unit, you really only want to get it for cost. But let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, so we can just kind of have an open discussion and talk about it. But I'll give you some pretty good reasons why you should subscribe. All in all, I basically give you the no BS answer to what is actually good about the laptop and what is actually bad. I've seen a few reviews, they don't really kind of touch the core of the problem, and I feel like the HP Envy was really kind of an experimental design and kind of not really flanked with enough premium to it. So when Ultrabooks came out, they were really kind of designed to be premium and portable and fairly powerful. And I'm just not seeing the whole premium aspect built into the Envy. So I would say probably a no-go. But and you even have the slow SSD, which by Ultrabook standards, the SSD should have slightly better write. I mean, I want my write to be maybe half as good or 2/3 as good, but we're seeing a fairly slow write on the SSD. I'm gonna say out loud, I'm probably nitpicking, but when you can get Ultrabooks that have good read and write, why not just get that? Why should you settle for less? And you kind of have those okay kind of speakers, flanked with the slightly smaller trackpad. You know what I really feel? I really feel like HP just kind of took this laptop and said, what's the cheapest Ultrabook we can bring to market that'll still be considered an Ultrabook, but just won't have all the other amazing premium look and feel type features. Now, they did go with the ports, but just everything else I feel is just so mediocre. I mean, these days people really just want to be wowed. I mean, you look at the Spectre 13 or the Spectre X360, they're substantially much more cooler designs. They look and feel better, and the sound is a little bit better. And just overall, it's just a better design. It's just better in all categories. Definitely, if you like this video, give me a like. But if you feel like you want to know more about laptops and you want to stick around, have an open discussion, because I actually do reply to your guys' comments. I do enjoy waking up in the morning and reading all of them. Just go ahead and subscribe. Let's chat it up a bit. And I'll definitely see you in the next video.